Yeah, what's up? What's up? What's up? What's up? Sorry, I'm 1 minute late. I had problems with technology. They always mess you around. They always try to mess you around. They always try to mess you around. If you don't pay them money, which I ain't paying no more money for the stupidity, the overpriced BS service, they deliberately try and mess you around. You understand me? Let's get this right. So I've got a very special guest on tonight who's going to be coming on, hopefully, at past. So we're going to talk until then. Now, there's a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about boxing. We're going to talk about the matrix. We're going to talk about how to escape the system. We're going to talk about reality. Reality. Okay? Yeah, yo. Oh, you must be talking about Joseph Packet. Joseph the Packet Parker. That's a crazy story, man. Railways here in the house. Should be looking forward to this live stream. Yeah, I've got a great guest called Joe Barnes, a guy who's a published author. He's written many books. You can check out in the description. I dropped in the description his Instagram. You can buy his books for $1 or 77p just for today. Footnotes. Even should be in the fans. Evening to you, my brother. Gareth the Turncoat Davis put in his box by Eddie Fasker. I didn't see that, but it's not exactly difficult to put a piece of shit like that in his box. Why is his name Gareth A. Davis? It's Gary Davis. Your name is Gary Davis. You're a piece of shit. You don't know nothing. You're a pervert. Yeah. Yes, my boy, my dead jet comes in with HLB. They're right. Great to see you, bro. Like I said, I've got a great guest coming on. He's a boxing fan. He's an oil driller. A cafe latte driller. I'm cool with that. I've done some oil drilling of my own. But he is a published author of 5 books, which are about escaping the system, escaping the matrix. Yes, hi to everybody in the chat. Thank you, brother. Decent, my boy. Hello all. Yeah, hi, Foster. Great to see you. All the funds are here, as usual. Boxing Classic HQ, was Benn heavier than Eubank in the weigh-in? Amazingly, Benn weighed in 3 pounds than he did last time. And Eubank weighed in 1 pound less than he did last time, even though he's whinging. So, it's a strange situation. Now, if you're a betting man, I am, but I bet for profit. I don't bet for buzz. I bet for money. I lost 30 quid this week and I was gutted, even though it's only 30 quid. I was over $1,000 up in profit this year. It's not a lot of money, but it paid for my electricity. It paid for my water. It paid for my gas bill. Boot Soul, great guest, Triple B. The diverse and interesting content makes this YouTube channel the most entertaining there is. I'm glad he said that. Great to see you, Boot Soul. I hope you're well, brother. God bless you and God bless your family. I'm still in shock that Joseph Parker taught code. Well, there's going to be a lot of talk about this. I did a video on it. I hope you watched it, guys. I hope you watched it because it laid out the potential reasons why Joseph Parker did the Yale, okay? And there's all kinds of reasons. He might just be addicted. He hangs out with Tyson Fury. Tyson Fury is known to like the packet. And Joseph Parker, a.k.a. Joseph the Packet, might have got in there. It's not a performance-enhancing drug, long-term. But if you did, look, if I was going to do a bare-knuckle fight and someone said, have a nose up, I'd be, yeah, I'll do that. Why? Because it takes away pain and it gives you intensity. It gives you anger. So actually doing a little nose up, or you can ingest it, you know, you can ingest it via a bottle orally, and it still has an effect, right? Can we talk about the ingredients of Manuka honey? Yeah. That's what Joseph Parker is, always pushing Manuka honey. And then suddenly he failed a test. Okay, we got my boy on. My boy is going to be here. My boy is coming in a minute. Now, remember, you can look into the description. You can find out his Instagram. You can get a reduction. You can get all his books. He's a published author. You can get his books for only $1 or 77p in the UK. Okay? So I'm going to bring him on right now. So we got my man, Joe Barnes is in the house.
What's up, Triple B?
It's so good to see you, brother.
You're
You're
too.
looking well, man. You're looking
Thank you.
well, brother. Obviously, we're going to talk about your books, but you're also a big boxing fan. So
yeah, absolutely.
And that's how we got to know each other. Wait, I'm going to try and make it. Hang on. Yeah, this is better. This is a better view. So you can see my man, Joe Barnes, a published author. Check the description for you get reduced price, and you can see his books. You have at least 5 books, right?
Four, but the 2 behind me, the Rebel Code, Escape the System, those are the ones I put them on discount. So if anybody wants them for $1 on the ebook version, I'll keep them up there for about 24 hours for that price. So if anybody wants,
and it's
to
reduced
grab
in
a
the
copy.
UK too for 77p because I checked it out, and you can see in the description. And I'll do this now, right? I'll put it up right now, right? Here you go. There you go. You can see Joe's website, his Instagram, his YouTube channel. Check the description. But we'll start with boxing, right? So how did you get into boxing? What interests you about boxing, man?
I always loved it. I'm big sports. My other sport is tennis. That's probably my main sport, actually, because I play a lot. I still compete and play at that. But in terms of following, I probably follow boxing even more than I do tennis, to be honest. And I did actually have started doing a few training sessions of boxing as well. So enjoying that. Ever since I was a kid, I've been into it. I remember who I like back in the 90s. I was Nigel Benn fan, Chris Eubank,
of course.
Big Leonard.
Did you like Naz?
Naz, I like Naz. I love Naz.
The power, the accuracy.
He had those. I even cut my shorts up. So I was like 15 at the time. He had those little, not regular shorts. He had those little strands, and I even did that to a pair of my shorts, which looked ridiculous. Really? It looked ridiculous, but I didn't go out and playing in the back garden or whatever. You
didn't go out like on the town wearing it,
but that's cool. how I was influenced by him.
But boxing is a niche sport, and you're part of a community if you like boxing, because it is a very obsessive sport. For me, I was attracted because from a young age, I saw these men that looked so tough and that would put their lives at risk, and that would be prepared to take those massive risks. That's why I was attracted to boxing. The toughness, right?
Yeah, I don't know. It was just the entertainment for me. I just thought, wow, what sport can you get where any moment it could be over like that, and that that always drew me in. But yeah, I love all sports, but yeah, tennis and boxing.
Tennis I like, actually. Do you know, weirdly, because it's even though it's a non-contact sport, it's extremely skillful, and it's a one-on-one sport. So the guys that are extremely good, like Federer, Djokovic, they have to have such a strong mental. Their mental strength is so good, because there's other guys like who's that guy, man, from the Ukraine? I can't remember his name, but there's been a couple of really good players that just lack the mental strength to go from here. They have the skill, but they lack the mental strength to go from here to here.
Yeah, that's what separates them. Those 3 guys. I know there was a load of good players. This is sort of back 10 years ago when they were dominating. There was a load of good players, but as you said, they just couldn't make the leap because they didn't have that mental toughness. Even Murray.
Murray's a great point. Sorry, to interrupt you. I'm talking about Gregor. Is that Gregor?
Oh, Dimitrov.
That's right. He had all the skills, but he just lost. He didn't have the mental strength, right?
Yeah. They called him baby fed, or
Yes,
He's
right.
supposed to be the baby Federer, but some people called him shit fed because he just wasn't. He wasn't quite on that level.
Yeah, that's right. And especially in a a sport when you're on your own and you're moving everywhere, and you don't have the backing of a team. You don't have, and with tennis, you go back and sit on your chair. Your trainer isn't even there. In boxing, at least your trainer is sitting there. But you have to be strong here, right?
What I wouldn't give for a coach to be on the court with me. So I'm a coach myself, but I still compete. As you say, when you compete, you're on your own. And what I wouldn't give to have a coach there just to say, get your shit together, or you need to do this or that. You need to give me some ideas for tactics. It makes it's such an advantage to be able to have someone with you to point you out where you're going wrong or pick you up.
And so also emotionally, to have someone to give you a little bit of a boost, a back. What, if you don't mind asking, what level did you play at as a tennis player?
No, it's funny enough. I was just, because I said I played all sports as a kid, so I never really pursued it. It was only as an adult. So now I do this thing called ITF Masters. So it's basically, you don't get, like, Federer's not going to retire and play on the ITF Masters because what's the point? He's done it all.
Right.
All the guys who didn't quite, make it as pros, and even some of the low-level pros might then go onto the ITF Masters circuit and do that. So I got into for 40 and over for a few years ago.
And you play this league?
Yeah. Oh, it's a circuit. Wow. So it's all over the world. And it's not like it's big money or anything, but I got to 98 in the world for 40 and over. That was the best.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
Come on, that's incredible.
But you've got to bear in mind that that's not, it's not the top dogs playing. This is like all the guys who didn't quite make it who are playing. So it's good, but it's not.
You're being very modest, John. But it's an achievement to be able to play sport at a high level at any age. If you're even at master's level, right? You've got to have skill, and tennis is a game that's played by many people. So you're going up against guys that have played for years, right?
Yeah. This is, we all take it seriously, but and the top guys are really, really very high level. And then when you enter the world champs, that's when some of the former pros do turn up. But I haven't done that yet. I haven't got into it.
Do you have to pay for your own kind of airplane flights, hotels?
Yeah, they're not gonna,
you've got to pay for all that.
Maybe if you're one of the top guys who's in the world champs, you get that laid on, but about the most you get is a coach ride to the venue. from the hotel to the venue. You might get.
Do you have sponsors? Do you have
no, I don't. I could probably pursue a sponsor with my coaching, if I was really bothered to do it, and go to Wilson or Babolat or one of those brands and say, look, I'll sell X amount of rackets each year, but I just never really been bothered to do that. I sell them just through a connect I've got anyway. So it's just an ego thing, I think, to have that sponsorship.
Well, yes and no. I mean, it's an achievement and it's money, and at the end of the day, we've got to pay the bills. But back to boxing. So we talked about the big fight allegedly this weekend is Conor Benn vs Chris Eubank 2, which I think is unnecessary. They labelled it unfinished business. What is your prediction?
I listened to your video. Was it a couple of days ago where you said Ben on points, or put money on Ben on points because you thought there was good value? I think that's quite a good. I might go with that. I can't. It's a tough one. I can't. Most of the times I can call it, and sometimes I do bet and win. But this one, the thing to me is, I feel Junior he's bigger, but I think he did get fatigued through the rehydration, and I just think, is he going to be any better 6 months on? Is he going to be any healthier, any more resilient? I don't think so. So I kind of think Ben could get to him late and get the points, or maybe even the stoppage.
Additionally, the weigh-in was very interesting because Conor Benn weighed 3 pounds heavier than he did the first time, whereas Chris Eubank weighed 1 pound less. Now, if you don't know boxing, you think, well, what is 1 pound? You know, it's nothing. But the importance of making weight and cutting it correctly and the difference it can make is extremely important in boxing. So I have put only a fiver, but I put a fiver on Conor Benn points because I think that's the value.
What will you get for that if it happens?
I got 4-1.
Yeah.
Which to me isn't bad, because and Conor Benn is younger, fresher. He has looked good in training. Chris Eubank has already talked about retiring, and when that happens psychologically, sometimes it can mean that, you know, you take your foot off the pedal. You know, you take the foot off the pedal, and I think I do think Eubank won on points at the time. Admittedly, I got my drink on, but I thought maybe Benn could have edged it. So a higher work rate, and he was missing a lot of shots, but a higher work rate this time, I can see Benn on points, man. I can see it.
I can see a stoppage as well. I definitely think.
Really?
I had. Well, the thing was, I had Eubank winning. You know, no doubt in the first fight.
Yeah.
There wasn't. It wasn't, to me. There wasn't a question. It was 2 or 3 rounds to Eubank.
Unfortunately,
However, if you say who got hurt more or who got rocked more, I thought Eubank got rocked early, and I thought he buzzed him. Definitely once, and then whether it was twice. And the damage Eubank was doing on Benn was more physical, you know, being the physically bigger guy. It wasn't as in he didn't chin check him that much. To my sight.
Yeah.
So I thought, actually, Benn can hurt this guy, and I think Eubank's skin's gone a bit, hasn't it? It's not the same as it was.
I agree with you. Also, I don't know what the rehydration clause is, but allegedly there is one. And Eubank looked horrible after the fight. He's posted pictures of himself, and he looked very bashed up. Okay, my man Bang Daddy Paddy says, I'm going to buy Escape System tonight. It sounds very interesting. So, I mean, we'll talk. We'll just let it roll. But do you want to give us a quick introduction?
I've got a couple of questions for you as well, Triple B, at some point.
Oh, believe me, ask, brothers.
I'll start with one then. If you I'm a big fan of the channel, obviously watch a lot, but and it's made me question something, it's made me wonder something, and I wanted to put it to you. If you had no choice and God made you either one of 2 ways and you couldn't be the normal way and you had to choose it, this isn't sexual, by the way.
I was getting worried, man.
Either your eyes were too close together or your eyes were too wide apart, which would you go for?
Oof, tough question and great question. I actually think that people whose eyes are too close together actually tend to be more successful than people whose eyes are too far apart. I think it's called hyperteleralism or something. There's a word for it. If your eyes are too wide apart, and whilst there's no link to low IQ, allegedly, the people whose eyes are too wide apart are more likely to have a lower IQ. So eyes too close together is the answer, Joe. Easily. I'd rather not. I'd rather have normal eyes, brother.
Yeah, you've got no choice in this hypothetical situation. But yeah, I'd go the same, because then you end up looking like the hammerhead shark, don't you, with the eyes off here, and it's not a good look.
The sloth, we're on the same page here. You're preaching to the choir, Joe. But I just wanted to know about Escape System, which is a super. Even just the title makes me interested, right? And like we've already said, Bang Daddy Paddy goes, I'm going to buy an Escape System. So could you just give us a quick roundup of your philosophy, what you think is going wrong? What is the system? Why is it restraining people? How do we get out of it? And for what reason? I would love to hear.
Okay, cool. That's a lot of questions. I'll try and get through one at a time. So it was actually, initially it was
just
Screw
sell
the
it to us,
System.
Joel. Sell it to us, Joel.
Well, the book was initially Screw the System. I released that way back, but the title I felt was holding me back a bit, because Escape the System, you got a bit more of a direction. You know what you're trying to do. You're trying to get out of the system, which is what it's essentially about. It was just born out of the fact that I'd come out of uni, and I thought, I had my degree, and I thought, is this all there is? You know, what the fuck is this? Like, you know, the jobs the careers I was being presented with, the life I was being presented with, you know, working in a corporation somewhere.
Where did you work, if you don't mind me asking?
No. This was what I was faced. I avoided it. I didn't want to do it. You know, I didn't want to do it. So I worked in a bar for a bit. Then I became a tennis coach, then a hypnotherapist, and then released my book.
Oh, hypnotherapy, really?
Yeah, so I did that.
I've done hypnotherapy to increase my confidence, to get me away from alcoholism, and that didn't work. But I find it very interesting, hypnotherapy. It's a way of programming a subject's mind to be more positive, right? Is that a
more positive thing? Or, you know, to give up stuff? We often have, there's like, if you're trying to give up smoking or give up alcohol or whatever it is, there's some kind of...
I need your help, Joe. I need your help, Joe.
I think you're too far gone. I don't think there's...
Thanks for that, bro.
So yeah, no, it's not just the positive side of it. It's the getting you to realize why life is going to be better as a non-smoker. You know, I guess that is the positive side of it as well. You know, appreciating why life is better. Because if you say to someone, right, you're not going to smoke, you're not going to smoke, right? Well, what's the message going to their subconscious? The subconscious doesn't process a negative. It's just smoke, smoke, smoke. So in the back of your mind, you're still thinking about cigarettes. So you've got to go to a different reality in your mind where you are healthy, you're enjoying your boxing in the gym, you're hitting the pads, etc. You're getting fit.
So you look at the positives. You see, I read a book, I'm sure you've heard of it. It's by Alan Carr.
Yeah, easy way to stop smoking. Yeah.
Now, when I was 24, and back in the day, you used to be able to smoke anywhere. You could smoke on the bus, you could smoke in the office, you could smoke in the bars, everywhere. And I was like going, this is no good. And I read this book, the miniature one, because I had no concentration, because allegedly I've got ADHD, allegedly. And it made me think, you've got to turn around the way you approach something. So instead of thinking, oh no, I've had a hard day, or I deserve a cigarette, you think of all the positives you get from not smoking. Would that, does that make sense?
Yeah, that's it. I read that book. It's good, but also that talks about the lie of nicotine, basically. That, you know, you think it helps you de-stress, you think it gives you confidence, and basically he was reframing all of that, saying, you know, it's bullshit. It's actually a stimulant. It doesn't help you de-stress. Scientifically speaking, nicotine is a bit of a stimulant. It's not like alcohol, which is a bit of a depressant. So, you know, this stuff, it's just an illusion that the cigarette even does anything for you at all. It's all a big illusion.
I love that. I don't mean to interrupt you, but that's what resonated with me, because it was like the illusion, what you're doing essentially, if you're addicted to nicotine, and maybe any substance, although certain drugs will be about escapism, but with cigarettes, all you're doing is taking away the urge to smoke, right?
That's it.
But if you program your mind differently, what do you think about, is it called CBT? Is it called when certain psychotherapists will urge you to reprogram the way you look at things? What do you think about
that's cognitive behavioral therapy. Yeah,
CBT.
Yeah. I read a bit about it. It sounded good, but I never, you know, trained in it or anything.
Right.
I just stick with my hypnotherapy. But when you talk about illusion, then it kind of feeds into Escape the System and what, you know, I write about, which is the illusion of the reality we're presented with. I talk about the Matrix in the book, and I don't believe we're all plugged into a computer system. I'm not even a massive believer in some conspiracy theories. But what we are, we are sold an illusion that life can only be one way, that you've got to work 50 or 60 hours a week, that you're going to have no free time, that you've got to get married, have kids, and you're not going to have a life at all. You're just going to be living your life for other people. And I wanted to say to my audience that basically it's an illusion. That's not necessarily the truth.
They prepare you a route, and you are programmed to follow it. So how, because free works, escape the system, so how does one escape it?
So I came up with 10 rules to follow to escape the system. I actually made a video on this recently. See if I can remember them off the... Sorry. On the description, YouTube, Joe Bond's Escape the System channel, so you can check it out. But please carry on. Yeah, basically the 10 rules, if I can remember them off the top of my head. 1 was work for yourself. 2, don't break the law. Now you may think, well, why would you say that when it's escape the system? Well, the point is, if you get into illegal activities, chances are you're going to get caught. And then what happens? You're even more, in the grasp of the system. You're in their jails. So you don't even want to give them the chance that that's going to happen. So don't break the law. Save 10% of everything you earn. Ideally, then reinvest that. Invest
10%. 10%.
Yeah. 10% or 20. It depends how much you make, I guess. Don't get married. Now that
really, that's
don't get married. That doesn't mean don't have a relationship. Don't have love in your life, don't have kids. I just think, especially for men, too many of them get married too easily, and that's another way the system gets involved in your life. If you end up
people follow the same system that has always been pushed on them, and that their parents have done, and that the rest of society does. So you're saying you can get out of that and actually your life.
And if I haven't got anything too much against marriage, and definitely not about having a family and kids and all of that stuff. It's more to do with the fact that if you get married to the wrong person and you fall foul of the divorce courts, your life can be partly ruined. So maybe not don't get married. It's be careful about getting married. Don't just jump. I think so many people are in a rush to do it and just jump into it. Try and remember a few more. So another one is improve yourself. I think you've got to constantly be trying to learn, trying to
physically and mentally.
Better. Yeah, exactly. Make yourself better, because that's how do you get out of the system? You got to become so good, so exceptional that you're not chained to it. You don't need to rely on it for a job anymore. What else was there? Pay your taxes. Again, I know that sounds counterintuitive, but it's just another way.
What about your TV license? I don't pay no TV license, bro.
No, I agree, especially after that thing with Trump. Did you see that?
Yeah, when the BBC, who allegedly are the best news medium in the world, misrepresent what's happening. Not only that, they protected, people who are very dodgy character, nonsense, basically. How could you follow a medium, a channel, an institution that pushes that?
Yeah, I was shocked. I mean, I had my suspicion always, as you mentioned, about Savile, etc. Very good, a good reason enough not to pay your license. But then I always felt that they were on social issues. The BBC is biased to the left, and that just proved it. I mean, what clearer evidence can you need that powerful institutions are manipulating the information you take in? I mean, I heard them played side by side, the edited clip and what Trump actually said. I'm not a big Trump fan, by the way.
Of course.
Not saying I am. I think he was better than the alternative, but I'm not saying he's the solution. But that's so obvious that you're being manipulated, and it's so good that they got exposed in that way.
Okay, this is the interesting question. Am I dead yet? Why do the BBC get so much power? Why can't we have a choice where we can drop the BBC and not pay the license? But also, I think because it's a antiquated system that was based around when there was no other options. But it makes no sense in the modern world. But the BBC have tremendous power. How do we separate ourselves from that?
Oh, you ask me?
Yes,
I mean,
of course,
it's just,
Joe.
I guess.
You're the sage, brother. You're the sage.
I think you said it. You just don't pay the license. I got trapped because I'm on a bloody direct debit. So they keep taking it. I just took it out my account a couple of weeks ago without me even realizing it. So I need to put an end to that. I don't really watch it anyway, to be honest. Maybe a couple of times when Wimbledon's on, I'll watch it, and that's about it. My girlfriend tries to insist on watching Strictly Come Dancing. I know
she's a
big
lady.
fan.
Everyone, you're allowed a few. I mean, like, for example, I'm very against bread and circus. Obviously, you know what that means, because that's a way of taking people's attention away from the real things that are important and putting them onto sports, Strictly Come Dancing, films, soap operas. On the other hand, one could easily say, well, Triple B, you're watching boxing. It's no different. I'm saying, yes, I think there is a place for entertainment, but one has to realize that these are not important, and that one shouldn't put too much emphasis or belief in these things. The cult of celebrities is especially worrying to me.
Yeah, I mean, it's not just that, it's the whole like influencer cult as well. At least you could say at some point, some celebrities had some genuine talent, that before the internet came along, celebrities tended to be pretty exceptional in some area. Yeah. And now it's not even that. You've just got influencers who, for some reason, go viral for doing a dance or doing something stupid on camera.
And the power they have over people is the worry.
Yeah,
the power they have over people. So, I mean, from understanding what you're saying, one needs to be aware of that, and one needs to take oneself away from being.
Oh, absolutely. That was another one of the 10 rules. Disconnect from the mainstream media. That brought me onto that. Yeah, disconnect from the mainstream media. So I don't read or purchase any newspapers. I don't watch any news.
Right.
Never? You just don't need it. You don't want it in your mind. I mean, amazingly, I don't, but it still finds a way to filter through, I'm still aware of what's going on. I'll still for example, I got quite interested in the Russia-Ukraine conflict. Yeah. So I wasn't going to mainstream channels, but I was researching it, finding out more about it. So I know what's going on. I just won't let my mind get polluted by those biased opinions and the narratives they want to push. It's just your headspace, your thoughts are more powerful than you think. So you just don't want that kind of noise in your head on a daily basis.
I agree. I do keep my eye on the mainstream media, but for different reasons. I do it so I know how they're trying to manipulate the populace and what they're trying to feed us with. That's why I keep my eye on it. It's not because I believe it. It's not because it gives me anything. It's because at least I can understand. And listen, man, all news comes from Associated Press and Reuters, who are allegedly owned by the same family. And they just reskin these stories. You will look at the Daily Mail, the Guardian, which are allegedly polar opposites, right? And yet they are basically pushing very similar agendas and just reporting on the same stories. We have to see the way they manipulate us. And I think that's the first thing, right? To recognize how they manipulate us.
Yeah, absolutely. I can remember a few more of the things that I put on the 10 rules to escape the system. Don't make money your sole focus and primary objective of your life. I think that's how people get controlled. And you obviously, Andrew Tate, right?
Of course.
And I
find him interesting, but
yeah, I find him interesting. I like some of the stuff he says. I really agree with some of the stuff he says, but the point he's missing, because he talks about escaping the matrix, the point he's missing is he's so much into materialism and what color's your Bugatti, always talking about what he can buy. But materialism is one of the way the system sucks you into its grasp by thinking that money is so significant and important, and that it reveals your value when it doesn't. So that's the kind of contention I had with.
There is a massive. You're absolutely right. A massive push. You're judged by money, and that's it. And he pushes that a lot. What would you think? What would you say are the most important channels, I guess, to what should we aim for? What should we be looking for as a human who can grow, as a human who can live a contented life? Where do you feel we should go?
I think on an individual level, you should get yourself like a vision, a goal, a dream, whatever it might be, and then put everything you've got into achieving that. I also think, family, despite me saying don't get married, I do think family is important, super important. So I think if you make those two things the focus of your life and stop all the distractions that we've been talking about, then you're immediately going to get a lot happier. Now, on a global level, where should we go? It's a lot more complicated question, but I do think a big part of it is moving away from, we've got to make money, fine. I don't live in a fantasy world. We have to some degree, and being rich is great. There's nothing wrong with having lots of money, but we're too materialistic as a species. We've lost connection with what's really important in life, I think. So we got to move away from that materialism.
Is it love? Is it, and that's simplistic, is it love? I mean, obviously you have a very good relationship. You got a nice partner and everything. So it's obviously very important to have a companionship, to have some love in your life. Correct?
I think it's love, but it's also, listen, it's just good boxing analogy here.
I love this.
Bring it back to boxing. So I don't like Mayweather, or as you call him, Gay Weather. Great boxer. I think he's one of the best, not the best, one of the best of the 21st century. But PED user, by the way, as well, which is ironic, because he was always calling out Pacquiao for that, who never failed a test, unlike him. But anyway, besides the point,
never failed a test.
So Mayweather's all about the money, right? And to me, boxing should be about glory. Yeah, you want to get paid, but it's about glory. It's about doing something incredible, and that to me is also speaks to life. It's not about getting yourself rich. It's about doing something actually amazing. So it's about love and family, but also having some kind of achievement or leaving some kind of legacy with your life. That's, that for me, like you look at somebody like Usyk, who to me chases glory, not money. And that to me is really inspiring when I
was about to ask you, Joe, like, you mentioned people that you don't think, like Mayweather, who shouldn't be followed, but who are the guys in boxing, especially because it's a boxing channel, that you feel are a good model? I mean, Usyk, you just said, for me, Jay or Pattaya.
I know you're a big fan.
Jay or Pattaya, right? But what other names you're a boxing fan, you're boxing. What other role models? I hate that word, but what other kind of role models?
God, it's tough for me to say. Usyk. I will say something, and I don't consider him a role model, but something has sprung to mind, because you do give him a hard time, and I think he deserves a hard time personally as well. But one thing I like about AJ is that he doesn't duck anyone. He steps in the ring, he steps up and he will fight, because I can't stand duckers, but he does step up and fight, and I admire that, even though there are a lot of flaws there. I loved Lomachenko as well. He's now retired.
Oh, Lomachenko is fab. His skills are incredible. Unfortunately, in my mind, he will never be remembered by boxing history as being one of the best, whereas he is by far one of the best.
Oh, absolutely.
Because there's been a couple of robberies and he's lost 3 fights. Go, oh, he lost here. But this is a guy whose movement, the way he looked at things differently, the way he fought. I love him. I knew similarly. I think. Sorry, please go. Please go.
Sorry, Triple. It was with Loma, that another example of a guy who chases glory almost to a fault. You know, he was so much after glory that he was entering fights where he was massively outweighed.
Yeah,
where he was going up against the whole American boxing establishment, and unfortunately, seemingly too dumb to realize that he's not going to get a fair shake. Either knock the guy out or don't take the fight because you're going to get screwed, and he did against Haney. He got screwed, but
I agree. No, sorry to interrupt you. Another guy says Triple G. He's another example, right?
I like Triple G. Yeah.
Pretty Bull says Huey Fury. What are your thoughts on Huey Fury?
It's funny if it wasn't for you mentioning him, I don't think have I watched a Huey fight? I don't think I have.
You will be on the edge of your seat, brother. When he fights Otto Wallin, I will be ringside and I will be there and I will be trolling. Right, Crawford is another guy who doesn't spend his whole time bragging and boasting, but who does as a business.
That's it, Crawford. I'd put him on the list. However, and you were the only guy to point this out.
Oh, thank you.
How does a guy go from 140 to 168, totally change his body composition, and everybody's not asking any questions at all? I mean, I hate to do it because I do like Crawford, and I think he's another guy who chases glory. He doesn't duck anybody. Supreme skill set. He's, I'd say there's 4 great fighters in the 21st century, and he's one of them. But I just think, and not only that, he's associated with Victor Conte, who died recently.
He's passed away recently. But he was the king of TUEs, of testosterone, of finding ways to beat tests. And there's so many ways to beat the test: masking, cycling, using products that aren't tested for. I'm very suspicious of Crawford. I'm glad you brought that up, and thank you. You obviously watched my videos, brother.
It was my own thinking as well, and I thought, I can't believe Triple B is the only boxing commentator even asking that question. I mean, it seems so obvious to me, just the way, when people's bodies, if you look at Crawford at 140, he's not a muscular guy. He's not, you tend to call a lot of guys out for PEDs. And I tend to think, some men are naturally very muscular. Like that guy, what was he called? Timothy Bradley, super muscular guy. I think he may be natural. That's just his genetics. Crawford wasn't one of those guys. He was a bit of a beanpole. And now all of a sudden he's as muscular as Canelo. It's like,
well, this is one of the problems I have with Joshua. And this is that's one of my major problems. Also, that he plays the world's smallest violin about how hard he's when he's been spoon-fed success. This is a guy that was nicked for major criminal, misdemeanors, and yet because the ABA were in league with CPS and the justices, we got off with nothing. No one gets remanded on their first offence for a minor offence. So what does that tell you? Well, it tells you there's something big there, and I can't stand someone whinging about how hard they've had it when they've had everything spoon-fed to them.
Yeah, totally agree. So it makes me remind why I don't like AJ too much. Apart from the fact he takes on challenges.
I'm glad I've turned you, Joel. I've turned you back to the truth. So you're wearing the T-shirt and you've got it behind you. Your other book,
the Rebel Code,
The Rebel. Well, how does that differ from your previous publications?
Yeah, so it's the Rebel Code. It's not so clear actually looking in the camera. Basically this is just I just thought to myself, I'm writing about similar themes, but I just thought it came to me one day that there's such a thing as personality classifications, right? The Myers-Briggs test, So you do a whole load of questions and you come up with 4.
What is that? I'm not aware of it.
Basically, it's been around for decades. So it's a psychological testing, personality test. It wasn't actually a whole load of science behind it, but psychologists created it. And they ask you a series of questions, and it's whether you're an introvert and an extrovert, whether you're a perceiver or a thinker, whether you're a judger, you know, these different questions. You come up with 4 letters, like INEF or something, and that's supposed to point you in the direction of what career you're going to do, or what kind of thing you're fitted to. And I found it quite interesting. I didn't believe in all of it, but I thought, well, can I simplify this? And I thought, yes, there's really only 3 types of people on the planet. You're either a leader, a follower, or a rebel. So this book is
which one are you?
Well, I'm obvious.
You're a leader, right? You're a leader, right?
No, I'm a rebel, but that's another point. You don't fall into.
Right.
You can be kind of like major rebel, but on the other side you're a bit of a leader as well, or you're kind of a follower, but inside you there's a bit of a rebel. So it's not an exact.
You can cross over. Right? It's not a simplistic labeling system.
It's just a way of seeing the world, and once you understand that way and what rebels are here to do, which is create change and shake things up, then your life becomes a lot more. It begins to make sense, and you go from being frustrated and thinking, oh, there's no place for me in the world, you know, what am I going to do, to actually, this is what I could be doing, and having a much more fulfilled life as a result of that.
What is your best advice to anyone watching, to any young people especially? What is, in a single sentence, what will be your best advice?
Just full stop. Okay. You're putting me on the spot here, Triple B.
You have to. Don't believe the
I would say if you're giving me a sentence, I'll just take 2 words then. I'll take 2 words, and it's trust yourself. And I'll go with that.
Do you think people have a problem with trusting their own instinct? Do you think that's
absolutely. That's the whole thing. We get manipulated in so many different ways. Get made to think we're wrong, get made to think that, you know, you're just one individual, you're inconsequential, there's nothing you can do to change things, that you end up believing that. When actually you may have some great ideas about things, it may be a business, what else. But you've got to trust yourself, otherwise, you know.
But I believe from a young age, we're taught not to. We are taught just to follow the rules, to follow the system. So it's quite difficult to get out of that constriction, right?
Yeah, absolutely. That's what the books are for, because I saw that and I thought nobody's really writing about this, and that's why I wanted to write about it. What do you see for yourself in the future? Yeah, good question. More books. I haven't reached the level I want to. I need to sell a lot more copies of my books. And
remember this, and the description, check out my man's books. You've got a special offer. Only $1.
That wasn't a plug, by the way. But thanks. So yeah, professionally that. And then ultimately, I don't know how you'll feel about this, Triple B, but ultimately I studied politics at university. I'd want to go back into politics.
Would you really?
I'd want to do it the right way and actually do it to help people rather than to cream off society.
Do you not feel that the system is broken and therefore getting into politics won't allow you to achieve the goals you want to, and that the whole system needs to be brought down? This is where I come from. I believe the system is damaged. I believe the system is archaic. I believe the system is biased, and we almost need to tear it down.
I think there's a good argument for that, definitely. I remember, it's crazy to say actually, because it was such a tragedy, and I don't mean to in any way say the loss of life is good in any aspect. But I remember, I don't know whether you remember back 2001 with the 9/11 bombings. It was terrible, but I actually thought, man, something's going to change. You know, this could be the start of something changing whereby exactly something's going to get brought down. Now, obviously, turned out completely wasn't, and if anything, it was the reverse. It was the start of more control over our lives. And obviously, I don't want to go into, you know, Muslim v Christian wars. I wouldn't be, you know, I don't think that helps anyone. But I did think with that kind of moment of chaos, I think that's what it was, a moment of chaos, there's a chance for something new and better to come in. So I kind of agree with you, but at the same time, I'm a bit of an optimist, so I also think things can change.
You are an optimist. I'm a pessimist and a cynicist. But I don't disbelieve that it's possible for change. However, one of the problems is good people, okay, so people with good intentions who are empathic, who are not psychopathic, are not the kind of people that get to become leaders, if you want, to get to become people that change things. So if you got chaos and it got rebuilt, would the people that rebuilt the system be trustworthy?
Yeah, it's a great question. I don't know. You look at I'm
a great guy.
Yeah. Look at the Cuban Revolution. So I'm a big fan of, or I don't know if fan is the right word. I was like, Che Guevara amazed me. I got a couple of books about his life back there. It just amazed me. I'm not a communist. I don't believe in socialism or communism, but just what an amazing life. And him and Fidel Castro effectively did that. They kicked out the corrupt US-backed Cuban government in the late 50s and created their own thing. Now, unfortunately, they were wedded to communism. So in some respects, they screwed it up. In other respects, you know, the health of the country improved, the education system improved, but okay, they were very impoverished.
The medical system and education was apparently super there.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, they got, trade restrictions.
Yeah.
They got attacked by the United States. And when you got a power that has it's like a country, a system that's got so much power, it's very hard to buck up against it because they will attack you and they will belittle you and they'll make it hard for you to put in those positive channels, right?
So we never really got to see, you know, could it have worked? It didn't work, but we don't know because, as you point out, all of the sanctions, you know, just crippled the economy. So you don't know, you know, that's an example of something getting torn down and built back up and not quite working. But as you point out, it may have been because of the US, but I think communism's kind of doomed to fail anyway. I don't really see how that's going to work.
I agree with you. Also, the problem with people in general is and we're led to think this way, to be simplistic. So this is communism, this is fascism, this is the capitalism, this is that. Whereas there are plenty of systems, there are plenty of ways of thought that don't fit into an easy box, but they love to stick you in an easy box, which is a way of holding you back, right? Not only individuals, but people.
Yeah, absolutely. That's the thing. I can look at things and say, I like this about a couple of left-wing revolutionaries, but I wouldn't want to live under a system of communism. You know, I like one or two things about conservatism. But would I want an ultra-conservative, restrictive lifestyle government? Probably not. So I kind of dip in and out of things.
Well, they say that. I'm sorry to interrupt you.
That's cool.
But they say that everything's a bit like a circle, right? So if you go really left and really right, boom, you end up the same thing, which is control and fascism and rules and what. Okay, looking around the world now, what country, what system, especially country or community, you think are the most successful? Are you most drawn to?
Sweden.
No,
I'm joking. I'm doing
20 years ago, maybe.
Doing an
Sweden 20
Otto
years ago.
impression for you.
But you know, hey, listen, guys. The problem with Sweden is they created a near perfect society, and unfortunately, you know, with a lot of land. Yes, there were high taxes, a lot of land, a very good welfare system state. There was a very low crime rate. Unfortunately, people became very empathic and kind, and that was abused. So I think the modern Sweden, I'm not saying it's a disaster, but when you've got Stockholm, which is or Malmo, which is a crime and great capital of the world, it's worrying how easy it is to take advantage of empathy and kindness.
Yeah, I was joking. I don't really think.
Oh, you were joking.
Yeah. I know your love for Otto, so I was just playing on that.
What about the Amish? What about the Amish? What do you think about that?
I don't know much about them, and thinking about that as well, I can't point to any country and say these guys have got it right. I just scratch my head. I mean, I like going on holiday to some countries, but
yeah,
I'm sure they've got their own issues.
What's your favorite destination for a holiday?
My girlfriend loves Italy, so we always end up going. We always end up going there. But yeah, Italy, south of Spain, I like. I actually used to really love, but I haven't been there for years. I used to love going to America, but I've heard it's changed quite a lot. I haven't been there for over 20 years, so I wouldn't really know.
Yeah. Similarly to you, but also the other thing about America is that there are so many different types of people. When I say use the word diversity, I mean in the genuine definition of the word. There's so many different types of communities, people, politics, but there is no. It seems that they used to be united under the flag, right, and the USA, but now it seems that you've got so many differences of opinions, and probably it's manufactured. The society seems broken, and seems to. I think it will. I'm not saying civil war, but we're looking at a broken society.
Yeah, I think so. Same here, really. Yeah, it's so much, and the thing I hate is like, you hear of people getting divorced or people not being able to speak to other people because they have different political views.
Oh,
and
that's bizarre,
I find it so pathetic.
I find it bizarre that you're right. I don't mean you and I, but like people, adults, that have different opinions, and yet I have had people that refuse to talk to me just because I disagreed on one particular aspect, and yet we were good friends. It's crazy, isn't it?
I think I can guess what that aspect was. Something to do with a jibber jabber.
I mean, that's a major thing. I don't want to put you in a difficult position, so I don't. I mean, if you want to say anything about that, it's up to you.
Well, it's kind of linked to my question I had to you, which is not that much of a serious question, but we know that Otto Wallin pushed the jibber jabber on everyone, and I agree that's reason enough to dislike the guy. But you keep calling him up on something else as well, and I'm wondering about that. And I've got to ask you, Triple V, what's wrong? What's wrong with a bit of oil drilling?
I've oil drilled myself, so I'd be a hypocrite, and there is some beautiful cafe lattes out there. So, but it's not okay. I mean, obviously, I inject parody and humor into things. If people love each other and they are attracted to each other, then you couldn't dislike that. My issue is about forced agendas.
Yeah.
And forcing, and it's a very controversial topic, but like you could say deliberate mass immigration, or deliberate this, or deliberate that, or making people accept certain beliefs that maybe 20, 30, 40 years ago that people would be completely against. And so, I mean, obviously I joke about it. That's the main thing. And I would never disrespect. I have a lot of fans that like a little bit of cafe latte drip, and I understand that. But obviously we're a comedy channel as well, and every individual has the right to choose their path.
Absolutely. And you've confirmed yourself as an oil driller. So
yo, the difference is, Joe, when I talk about oil drilling, I ain't talking about cafe latte, man.
I know.
I'm talking about 11:59 p.m. I'm talking about Nigerian oil drilling. But I did it, whatever. It's not my thing. It's not my thing.
Yeah.
That blue-eyed, that's my thing. But
you make a good point. It's like diversity in itself. I mean, it would suck if everyone was just white European, the whole world. I mean, it's great that we got all kinds of different people who look different, who come from different places. As you say, it's when it's forced on you that certain number of people in this company have to be of this ethnicity, and that's the thing we don't want. But diversity in itself, it's a good thing.
Yeah, true. But the other thing is this: the world has always been and is diverse. So I want to go to Japan and see Japanese people. I want to go to Italians and experience. There's always been, obviously, room for crossovers, but it's when it's deliberately manufactured to destroy a culture, to destroy a people, and that's when it's a problem. So, and that to me is the issue. It's the agenda. It's the forced manipulation of people. It's not. There's always been room for mixed relationships, for mixed nationalities, but the world is obviously diverse. We are different peoples. We have different cultures. But that's why it's interesting, and that's why I don't want people to lose their culture and their communities. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I get it. I agree with you. I just think it's kind of inevitable. Is it just the world gets smaller and smaller? That is going to happen.
Or is it because of politics?
I don't know. Just look at how many more people are speaking English now, and how probably as the centuries go on, local language is just going to die out.
I find it sad.
I don't know whether that is. I don't know whether that is a conspiracy. I think it may just be the way of the world as we get bigger, as the world gets smaller, and we can communicate with everywhere. It just makes more sense to be able to speak, have one or two or three common languages that most people can speak.
In some ways, but on the other hand, some of the beauty of the world is in difference. So I have Italian friends, and they are from different parts, like Napoli, from Trentino, and they have their own dialects. They actually have their own dialects. Did you ever watch Gomorrah?
No, I never saw it. I heard it was good, but I never watched it. It's
not a bad series. It goes a bit weird near the end, but it's pretty good. It's quite brutal, and my friend was an Italian. He's like, look, even I can't completely understand everything they're saying. And he goes, in my local town in Trentino, they have a dialect with a bit of German in it, with a bit of this. And I actually find that to be refreshing, to be beautiful, to be interesting. I mean, otherwise we enter a world where everyone speaks the same language and everyone has the same perspectives, everyone has the same opinions. That to me is not attractive.
Yeah. Is that town in the north of Italy?
Yes.
That's where Yannick Sinner's from. The
perfect example.
Yeah.
Yannick Sinner, do you know what? Actually, I don't know tennis super well, but I keep an eye on it. Obviously, you do. And as soon as I saw Yannick Sinner, I said to my Italian friend, this guy is going to be number one and be a superstar. And I'm talking like 6-7 years ago, right? And I said, he's young, but believe me, that guy's going to be number one. And my friend said to me, yeah, well, some Italians don't even consider him to be Italian. They think he's German. He's from the Alps. And his name, Yannick Sinner, it's not, but you know, I mean, also, you've got to remember that borders and nationality are kind of falsehoods anyway. Why do the Kurdish people not have their own country? Why do the Basques not have their own country? You know, why do the Cornish not have their own country? So no, but it's true, right? I prefer small areas, small government, small countries that preserve the local culture.
I get it. Yeah. So in some ways, you're pro-diversity. Then you want all this uniqueness around.
Well, it depends on how you define it.
Yeah,
you know?
absolutely.
And that's the key. Unfortunately, the word diversity has been deliberately weaponized to mean something that it didn't really mean, if that makes sense. You've been here 1 hour, 5 minutes. I don't want to take too much of your precious time, but it's gone quickly, brother.
Yeah, it's gone quick. It's been great talking to you. And I got my 2 questions in. I wanted to ask you and check with. So
thank you. So my final question. Okay, I got 3 more. I wrote down a few questions. I haven't really asked them, right? I want prediction for Benn Eubank. I want your opinion on Joseph Parker getting done for Yale, and I want to know on your opinion on Anthony Joshua vs Jake Paul, which apparently is signed. So 3 more questions.
Yeah. Okay.
3 more questions.
First one, I'm going with your prediction, which is Benn on points.
Yep.
Second one was the Yayo. He fought like he was on Yayo though, because he could have. He
faded. He started fast and then faded.
Well, and also the fact that he didn't use his head. He could have just boxed and won a comfortable points decision. Why did he have to try and have a tear up? So that could have been the Yayo affecting his thinking. So I don't know what to say about that, really. I mean, the guy,
we'll see what comes out. But
he worked so hard to put himself in a good position, you know, number 2 in the division, to finally get his Usyk shot, and he wants to go and blow it by doing some blows. So I don't really understand.
Yeah, I call him. He's not Joseph Parker anymore. He's Joseph Packet. He's Joseph Packet. So the final question is: what are your thoughts on something as bizarre as Anthony Joshua,
I couldn't believe
aka Gay JV's Jake Paul?
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the Jake Paul fights, really, and this is just weird. I guess Joshua was going to fight a bum anyway, so why not get paid? Why not get paid?
Why not get 100 million?
I don't know how much is he getting. I wouldn't know to put a figure on it.
He will get something like 100 million. But the problem is this: is whether or not it's real. That's the real issue. Will he carry him? Otherwise, you'd knock him out in a round, right? Surely.
Yeah. So that's kind of intriguing. That would be. I would quite like to see that Jake Paul getting ironed out like Ngannou did. Like Ngannou got ironed out. So
actually, talking about Ngannou, right? Especially after Tyson Fury embarrassed boxing, if you want to say that, by not training and being fat and being dropped. Joshua really took care of Ngannou and let him know what boxing was about, you know. And I actually respect that fight. And he, you know what, he goes like this. He does it all the time. He uses his brain. He goes boom. He's throwing a jab to the body, jab to the body, jab to the body. So Ngannou drops his hand, and then what happens? A big overhand right comes over and blap. And you're talking about a tough man, Ngannou, and he got absolutely ironed out, didn't he?
Yeah, and the optics on that weren't good, because you got Joe Rogan saying he's the baddest man on the planet, and your baddest man on the planet is laid out on his back for 5 minutes, not moving. I mean, I know he would beat AJ in a street fight or in a cage, but it just doesn't look good, does it? When you've got this so-called baddest man on the planet just on his back, sleeping.
Turki Al-Sheikh even said to Joshua, and he was quoted before the fight, I want you to win back respect for boxing and take care of him. And he took care of him in style. And I'm not a big Gay J fan, but I had to say, well done.
Yeah. So I think, I don't understand it, but I would like to see. I think he will iron out Jake Paul, and
if it's real.
I don't know why Jake Paul wants to fight. It just doesn't make any sense to me.
Well, that's where my spidey sense comes in. I'm like thinking it's got to be a setup. There has to be some agreement. Even Mike Tyson, who's 59, right, said in a couple of tweets, they were refuted by Paul, but he said, "I agreed not to knock you out." So there's a big difference between a 59-year-old Mike Tyson and Anthony Joshua, he's not in his prime, but he's close.
There's a huge difference. I don't know if I believe that. I think Tyson's just shot. I think he legitimately lost to Jake Paul.
Right.
I actually think Jake Paul held back. There was one point Tyson got hit clean, and you saw Tyson go like, "What the fuck just hit me?" And I think Jake Paul could have laid him out, and he just didn't because he was a legend.
I kind of agree with you, and also all the bowing and all that nonsense. It just seemed a bit WWE to me. But,
yeah.
And Jake Paul is, as a boxer, at his level, isn't bad.
He's not bad.
He's not world class, and he's way below that. But at a certain level, he can fight.
Yeah, but if fighting against a 250-pound, 6'6" man, it's just
a huge PD buck.
I kind of get it from AJ's perspective because he wants to fight a bum. Why not get paid $100 million to knock out a bum? I get it, but from Jake Paul's perspective, what does he stand to get? I guess you'll be right. If Jake Paul sees the final bell, we'll once and for all know that his fights are fixed, because there's no way he would see the final bell if he was in a real fight with AJ.
Absolutely, but ultimately, there are two things that run the world: money and sex. Now, sex is not involved in this, so it's money.
But is AKA Skins not going to be there?
My man! I don't know what's happening in that situation, but ultimately, they've taken the fight if it happens, and I'm still not sure it will, because they said it's in December. So we're talking about what, 4 weeks to 5 weeks away, even in late December. It will be a handshake agreement to make a lot of money. That's, to me, my suspicion.
Yeah, we'll see. We'll have our answer, won't we? It's either Gay knocks him out and it's a legit fight, or I called him Gay. I meant to call him AJ.
No, listening, you said the right thing.
I mean, that was a Freudian slip. So, or he sees the final bell, and we know once and for all Jake Paul's fights are fixed. So I guess it's good in a way. We'll have our answer one way or another.
I want to say thank you so much for your time. You've given me over an hour of time. People have loved it. So look at the description, and also what I've just printed there. You can find out Joe's Instagram. Please follow his YouTube. You can get for only $1 or 77 pence access today only to the books Rebel and Escape the System. It's been fantastic to talk to you as a boxing fan, and it was fascinating to know about your tennis career. And I wish you the best, and it's been great to have you on, mate.
Thanks, Triple B. Pleasure. And thanks for inviting me. And that's next 24 hours. I'll leave those books discounted. So if anyone watches this tomorrow, they'll still be available. And let's do it again sometime.
Absolutely. And also, like, you know what it's like if you're talking to someone who loves boxing and also who's clued up, I could talk forever. So it's been a real pleasure, and time went like that. So I'm going to carry on, but cool. Enjoy your evening. Say hi to your missus. Tell her the Triple B says hello, and we will see you soon.
See you soon, brother.
God bless you. Take care.
Bye.
Peace in the Middle East. Yeah, that was really good, man. That was really enjoyable. It's a shame. I was hoping more people would come on, but I'm shadow banned. But that was super interesting. So make sure you check out my man's Instagram, his YouTube, his website. It's all in the description. And by the way, I didn't get him a single super shekel. I'm just going to go to Drain the Lizard, and I'll be back to talk about boxing. And whatever else we want to talk about. But I want to see some Super Shekel action. I want to see some Shane Mongless action. I want to see some Buy Me a Beer action. I'll be back in 1 second. So keep talking. Keep there, guys. We'll talk about boxing. We'll talk about, the Jake Paul fight. We'll talk about the Conor Bum fight. And whether we despair about boxing. Are we despairing about boxing? Damn, that lizard needed to be drained. What do we think about Joseph Parker? Joseph the Packet Parker, Joe Blow. What happened there? That was very unexpected. Well, they're probably not until Tyson Fury. There's a rumor that the reason that Yayo got in the system of Joseph Packet was because Tyson Fury performed a Korea inspection and he had powder all over his hands. What do you think about that? What do you think about that? I'm going to get one more drink. I'm back in 1 second, guys. Jack Daniel and Coke. That's what's happening tonight. Did you guys enjoy that? Did you guys enjoy the live? I'm going to do another live, by the way. Another live, which is going to be tomorrow live for the Conor Bum Chris Eubank fight. I'm not paying for it. Question: what is Drain the Lizard? I don't know nothing about reptiles. Come on, man. It's taking a whiz, blow. It's a euphemism for taking a whiz. Joe the Snow Parker, man. Are you buying Boxing Classic? Are you buying DAZN Ultimate? Of course I'm not. I've got a DAZN account, a normal account. I will continue to do so. If a very, very good pay-per-view comes up, I will pay for it. But otherwise, no way. There ain't no way. I didn't pay for Joe Parker. I didn't pay for Joe Parker or Joe Packet. I won't pay for Conor Bum, Eubanks. It's not good enough. By the way, there's a couple of interesting fights on an called Adam Azim vs. Kurt Scooby-Doo. Kurt Scobie. I have put on a $5 on Kurt Scobie, even though he's only got one loss and he's got a knockout record. And I'm thinking, well, could he catch Azim? Now, he got knocked out by a guy called Dakota Linger, who's a white hillbilly, who was not expected to win. But he still has, I think, 16 knockouts and 18 fights. So I still think it's a small bet. I don't expect it to come through. Railway, Conor Bum weighed in at 159, yeah. Do you think he can make 157, or do you think he will have to fight 154? He hasn't fought in 147 in 4 years. Genuinely don't care. I think probably he will find it difficult to get down to 147. 147. I do think. Oh, without further ado, Retro, remember to follow my man's channel. Get your shekels out, yeah, tight. Get the shekels out, bro. This is a community channel. I don't want to sit there with my begging bowl. But we exist for the funds. But did you guys enjoy? I really enjoyed it. It was a shame to me that there weren't that many viewers, but a lot of that is because I'd done some controversial red pill videos on the Klitschko's, on Remembrance Day, and on hunting human beings in Yugoslavia. So when you speak about difficult topics, they will shadow ban you further. Different levels of shadow banning. It's not shadow banning or not shadow banning. It's like, okay. Prince D, Joe Sniff Parker must be sweating. Well, the problem is this: he's 33, and you know, has he spoken? To my knowledge, he's not spoken about why, but he will probably come out with I must have come into contact with it by mistake, you know. But he has a background of suspicious activity in the drug dealing industry, and he's 33. So a 2-year ban is going to be quite serious at 33. Maybe he's finished, you know. He accepted the loss, you know, in a very amicable way. He could have complained, but no, he accepted the loss. He accepted the loss. I don't know. He hasn't made. He has not made. I assume his lawyers have said, "Don't say nothing. Don't say nothing. Not a thing, man." Right. Let's answer some questions. Did you see Brian Norman Jr. call out Haney for using Floyd phrases? Well, Floyd phrases are pathetic anyway. All he does is repeat hood rat stuff. You know what I'm saying? So I didn't see it, no, but it doesn't bother me. I don't like Haney. Brian Norman, I hope he wins. Definitely check their books out. You'll have a look. Like as I said, if you got a Kindle, it's only £1 or 77p. Sorry, $1 or 77p. So yeah, he's a very interesting guy. So make, you know, at least hit him up on Instagram, YouTube. You know, subscribe. He's an intelligent human being. He's red pilled. He likes boxing. He likes a bit of cafe latte drilling. You know. So we got another one. Oh, the man is here. The man is here. The one, the only, the legend, Shane Mongos is here. Great to see you, brother. And thank you so much again for the usual generosity. I don't know whether you saw the early part of the live and whether you enjoyed it. I hope you did, brother. I hope you did. It was to me, it's interesting to get a guy who is a boxing fan, but also has a different angle, you know, a different angle about life and the matrix and the system. And is very honest. He's a published author, remember. So it's great to have him on, man. He was a super guest. Very likable, very likable. The ref for Eubank Junior's Benn is Kevin Parker. Thank goodness it's not Howard Foster. Yes, unfortunately, Howard Foster is yeah. Unfortunately, Howard Foster is a judge. Sugar Shane. Oh, hang on. What? Sugar Shane Fury or Sugar Shane Mosley is a clear PD abuser. Thoughts on Fisher this week? Oh, Big John Fisher. I'm sick of him. His ego is out of control. His ego is writing checks his body can't cash. He's bragging. He's showing off. He's in Claridge's. Which is one of the poshest, most beautiful hotels in Mayfair. And he's going on about, all these people saying how London is dangerous. It's not. It's great. Yeah, of course it's great when you're sitting in Claridge's, gorging yourself on expensive food. I bet after eating Claridge's food, yeah, this ain't enough to fill up a man. I bet he went to the local fish and chip shop and gorged his disgusting gammon pink pie hole. Sugar Shane Boggles. That's a pretty cool nickname, man. Yeah, Sugar Shane Boggles in the house, thankfully. Is anyone actually going to buy the pay-per-view tomorrow? I'd like to know that, man. I've enjoyed watching. Christy will visit tomorrow. Super. I'm going to do it live. So I'm doing live There's some decent fights on the bill. The main one is a bit, but Azim, Kurt Scooby-Doo is interesting. Tommy Welch, Scott Welch's son, if he's Reactball, I would assume Reactball would walk that, but the odds have suddenly dropped. So, you know, maybe someone knows something that we don't. Owen Foster, Big John Fisher looked to be in pretty good shape years ago. The bigger they are, the higher they fall. Years ago, what you mean? 25 years ago, bro. He was a bit of a Chad when he was young. He was big, you know, one of them naturally big guys, you know, and with natural kind of muscles and broad shoulders. And now he's a disgusting, gourmand, gluttonous, porcine pig. Yeah, I'll be paying. I'll be watching. I won't be paying. Certainly, that's where I stand. Prince D, I would go out and get my drink on for big fights. I mean, I guess if you're in a pub and they're not charging you to watch the fight, then having a couple of beers with your pals and watching the big fight is fun. It's fun. I've never heard of Kurt Scooby till a couple of weeks ago. He seems very confident. He's muscular. He hits hard. He was considered a prospect until Dakota Linger stopped him in a big upset, but he's still dangerous. And it's a cliche. There are a lot of cliches in boxing that you know, it's up to you whether you believe them or not. But Danny Garcia's father even said Pakistani fighters can't take a punch. Well, I mean, can't, obviously couldn't. So can Adam Azim take a punch? Will he get clocked on the chin? I mean, the odds are long. You get 8.5 on Kurt Scooby, which I think is too long. So I put a 5 on it, just to give me some interest as well. Yeah. 5 pubs in my area showing the fight. I'm amazed that many pubs would actually show a meaningless fight, because there's no. We've already had the first fight, so the narrative of the father's son's fight, it's been used, and it wasn't close, not by the judges. I thought it was quite close actually, but you know, most people agree that Eubank won, and they call it unfinished business. Well, the business is finished. Eubank won, and that's it. Move on. And there's no titles here. There's not even a British title, let alone a world title, right? So, I mean, and I even think the publicity hasn't been that good. Every time I go onto DAZN to look at something, they ask me, do you want to buy Benn Eubank 2? I have to go, no thanks. No thanks. Before I can even look at the rest of the channel. They are desperately pushing it. They have given away 2,000 free tickets to London cabbies, which is a bit weird, but that's not. I bet that's not the only lot that have got free tickets. If you look at like Ticketmaster and things like that, even 3 weeks ago, you know, the cheapest tickets were like 20 quid, 25 quid. They dropped a lot in price. It's going to be freezing. It's going to be raining. It's going to be outdoors. It's going to be in Tottenham. Come on, man. I ain't gonna come on, man. And they want $24.99 for this shit? Nah, not paying. Just watching my mates dodgy fire stick. Well, I'll be doing a live, hopefully. Apparently, they're attacking fire sticks. Although, from everyone that I know that's got a fire stick, they've had no problems with it. So I watched the last one in the pub was crawling with casuals. I bet they were, and I bet they followed the exact same narrative that the commentator said, Adam Smith. This is one of the best fights we've seen for ages, isn't it, Barry? Yeah. The next morning, I got guys that kind of know they're boxing, but more or less casuals. They're, oh, what a fight, what a fight. I go, it wasn't that great. No one got knocked down. No one got stopped. No one was badly hurt. There was so many missed punches. There was so much clutching. It wasn't a bad fight, but it wasn't great, man. So many casuals love a British fight. Pubs gain a lot from showing. Well, that's true. But it's also the hype machine. But I even believe the hype machine hasn't really worked this time. I think they're going to lose money on this production. I really do. How many pay-per-views will the rematch do, should be? Oh, well, that's a difficult thing. It's quite hard because they never really release figures about pay-per-views unless it does really well, and then they'll release figures. So I don't know. It's very hard to judge, but I have not heard anyone in the pub talk about it, right? The chatter on social media and on boxing forums is one of cringe, one of no one seems to be looking forward to it, and that's when you know you've got a good fight, when people look forward to the fight. I have not heard a single person personally or on forums or on social media say they're really looking forward to the fight, and it's not surprising because it's a scam. It's a money scam. Thanks, Tony Maloney. I agree with you there, Chubby. Yeah, the first one was very overrated. But they program you with the commentary. Oh, this is one of the best fights ever. Oh, look at Benn. He's coming forward. And Eubank is coming back. And people get programmed into thinking they're watching something great when they're not. If it was a fight in your core, people would be like, not bad fight. But they wouldn't be like going, oh, I can't wait for the rematch. Oh, I can't wait to pay £25 on pay-per-view to watch this again. Nobody's going to be doing that. And that's I like to go to the pub quite a lot, and I've spoken to people who are casual boxing fans, and they'll mention it, but none of them have got excited. And I've heard a single person go, I can't wait to watch it. I can't wait to pay my $24.99 to watch a couple of bums who are not even well rated fight again. Prince T. Michael Buffett even said there are still tickets available in his announcement of the win. It hasn't sold. It may be a financial disaster because they're going to have to. Eddie Hearn and I believe Shalom is involved, right, with Eubank. That they thought, they rubbed their hands and thought, great, it went the distance. We can run it again and everyone gets paid again. So let's do it in the middle of November when it's freezing in an outdoor arena, and let's charge £25 to watch this piece of shit. So I think they miscalculated, but they never tell you, do they? If they lose money, they never tell you about the figures unless they do well, and then they'll boast about it. So believe me, they won't be boasting about this. Trust me, they won't be boasting about this. The arena it probably won't be half empty, but that's because they're giving away so many free tickets. Even 2 weeks ago, before the announcement about the taxi drivers getting free tickets, there was loads and loads of chat on Twitter and other places going, they're giving away tickets. Yeah. The first one was a good fight, but very scrappy. Agreed. Folk at work on the Monday were saying it was one of the best fights they've ever seen. Exactly. They're programmed. They're the kind of people who'd watch the Lionesses and go, oh, they were amazing. They're better than the men most of the time because they're idiots, because they're NPCs, because they're blue-pilled, because they're moronical. But I don't think it's worked this time. Yeah, exactly. As I said, did you see that thing about Benn allegedly scamming people with dodgy NFT thing? Yes. So is it NFT? So it's like a blockchain thing where you copyright an image, and you am I right in saying you can copyright an image and people can buy into it? So Chris Eubank Jr. himself said that Conor Benn had been ripping people off with a fake NFT scam. Yeah, I saw that. I was going to do a video on it. I didn't because I was just sick of talking about them two biatches. If the first fight ended in a draw, there would be more hype for the rematch, right? Or even a split decision. As I said, at the time, I actually thought Benn might have edged it, but I got my drink on, so you can't trust yourself. Yeah, sorry, non-fungible token, right? Exactly, which doesn't mean much to people, but the problem is, it's like, so there's been plenty of instances of celebrities pushing meme coins in cryptocurrency and going on and on and on and on, and so loads of people buy this crypto coin because they don't know nothing about it, and the price goes up, whoop, and then the persons who own a lot of it, a lot of these coins, and who push them, the meme coins, sell it at a high price, and then the price goes whoop, and everyone loses money except the scammers. Fury did the same thing with an Ethereum token. I don't know about that. Ethereum is a solid crypto investment. There's really only two solid crypto investments, Bitcoin and Ethereum, but you had to have got in at the right time. I'm not dead yet. They should have had a fight in the O2 Arena. Yeah, absolutely. Biting off more than they can chew this time with Tottenham Stadium. Absolutely. But Ben Shalom loves Tottenham Hotspur, and that's no surprise. So they overestimated. They probably got manipulated themselves by the ridiculous hype from Adam Smith's mouth about what a great fight it was, and all the write-ups. They thought, oh, great, we're going to do this and going to make loads of money, rubbing their hands and stroking their noses. And they're going to find out the hard way. I hope they lose, and I hope they lose terribly, because they're wrong-uns, and because it's trying to mislead the public with whack fights. And what good fights are there? What am I meant to look forward to? Yeah. What fights am I meant to look forward to? The Benavidez Yard, half decent. It's not a bad bill, but it's another $24.99 bill. F that. Tony Maloney, I hope they have the black curtain ready to cover the empty seats. Yeah, they do that. You know, when they get usually it's inside though. When they get a fight and have sort of tickets and there's loads of empty seats, they tell everyone to move down and then they put up a black curtain to cover the empty seats. Yeah. Prince Steve, Benavidez vs Yard prediction. Yard, I don't personally dislike him or like him. I don't like his trainer. His trainer's a bum. Tunde Lions in the camp, but he's a fraud. Yet another fraud. But Yard always gives his all, right? So Benavidez, I underrated him. He has a great work rate. He has a great variety of punches. I think he will win by stoppage in about 9 rounds. I think Yard might have one or two moments, but landing one half-decent punch doesn't make you win a fight unless you spot the guy. Yeah, Bernard Gordon, Gay Javies, Jake Paul. Finally a real fight. I mean, I can't believe it's happening, man. I can't believe it's happening, man. I can't see. I can see the interest, but as Joel Barnes, my earlier guest, said, well, what happens if Gay J carries Jake Paul? They'll know it's all fake. If Gay J irons out Jake Paul in a round, which is what he should do, then then at least we think, well, yeah, it wasn't a serious fight, but at least it was real. But I just can't see it, man. I just can't see it. All right, guys, I'm going to finish up soon. It's been a great live. A shame there weren't more viewers early on when Joe Barnes was on, because he's a very interesting guy. But obviously, because, as I said, when I had 1,000 subs, I'd get like 150 viewers at one time, 2,000 viewers, right, per live. And now I get like 20 live viewers and about 250 or 300 views because they've shadow banned me. I mean, F them, man. I will never change. Why? Because I'm real. You want the truth? I want answers. You can't handle that truth. And YouTube can't handle the truth. If AKA Skids is engaged in this camp, there's a chance can legitimately lose. No, because no wins, no skins. No skins, no wins. Gay J does better when skins is there. Yeah, I don't know. Battering his back door. I don't know why, but it happens, man. December the 19th. So basically in a month's time, which is a bit crazy. Usually they announce fights 3 months before, 4 months before, maybe more. Legacy doesn't eat, says Eddie Hearn. Thanks, Eddie. You piece of shit. Am I dead yet? Says, think about the fight. Came on BBC Three. Now, if anyone's interested, which fight? Kind of bum vs Eubanks. Yeah, F 'em, man. F 'em, man. I'm gonna do a live tomorrow, so be there or be square. I won't be paying for it, and I don't think anyone will. No one has admitted they would pay for it, man. No one has admitted they'd pay for it. What up, bro? No one has admitted they pay for it, right? So watch my videos. I've done some good videos recently, some red pill videos, some videos about Eubank, some videos about Klitschko, some videos about hunting parties, some videos about war. Check them out. It's got me knocked back a bit, but F that, man. What time is the live tomorrow? Okay, so there are a few half decent fights on the other card. So let me have a look. Give me a second, man. So there's only 6 fights. 6 fights on, right? So you got Eubank, Bonn, Catterall, Echo Esserman. Interesting fight, but undoubtedly boring. Adam Azim, Kurt Scooby-Doo. That's interesting. Sam Gilly, Ishmael Davis, interesting, but don't care. Richie Rapport, Tommy Welch, only care because I want to see if Tommy Welch, Scott Welch's son, has got a chance. And then Mickey Talon vs Fizan Shahid. Yeah, I mean, that's pretty whack, isn't it, actually? So I will come on 8 p.m., something like that. Something like that, 8 p.m. Oh, Ben, what did they say, man? Tony Maloney. Chisora said something to Miller the other day about men dressed as women in Brixton. I wonder if he was talking about Lamar, Dean White, Scott. I told you the story. I've done a video about that man and how he likes to dress. You know? He's a very strange character. That doesn't mean he can't fight, but he's still a weirdo. Yeah, so I'll see you guys tomorrow, probably around 8 p.m., something like that. And we'll go through the most of the bill. I mean, like I said, there's only 6 fights, so when does it start? Usually the main event is on at 10:30, yeah, in these kind of things. So, and imagine I might have to sit there commentating about Jack Catterall vs Echo Esserman. Echo Esserman is a decent fight. You know, he's got a heart on that, but Catterall is a very skillful fighter, but an extremely patient and non-risk-taking fighter. The only fights that interest me are Adam Azim, Kurt Scooby-Doo, Riakpur Welch, and Eubanks Benn. I think all the undercard fights are 12 rounds except for one. Is that right? Let me have a look. 12. I think right, bro. 12. Riakpur Welch is 10. And Mikey Talon vs Fezam Shahid is 6 rounds, a flyweight fight. Well, obviously, I'm not going to sit and watch that. So, yeah, there's quite a few 12-round fights, but it's still whack. I don't think the fights will do well in Scotland. There's nothing, not on the cards anyway, because Scotland play Greece at 7:45 tomorrow night, and they'll see the main card. Well, there's no Scottish fighters on the bill anyway, and Scottish people are very patriotic. Oh, yes. Thank you, brother. Christ is King. Peace, brother. Peace to everyone. Open your mind. The predictions are coming true. Check it out. The event starts at 4:45? Are you serious? Well, I definitely won't be on at that point, but I'll catch the latter fights. Which will probably just be Azim, Scobie, Catterall, Esserman, and Eubank Bum. The King of Kings. God bless you. See you all, guys. Thank you so much. I've got to say thank you to, without further ado, Retro. £5. Get your shekels out. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. Shane Bongos. Sugar Shane Bongos with a 666. Thank you, guys. And thank you so much to Joe Barnes coming on the show. A very interesting guest. And we'll see you soon. Peace in the Middle East.